frogs have been around for 90 million years, but even so, they're extremely rare in the fossil record. And we'll talk about that and more fun fossil frog facts as we sketch this little rock. So let's just turn the page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a Thursday morning. Wow. 5:30 in the morning on Thursday mornings is when I like to do a little thing where I pull a toy from the toy box, a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, if you will, and I draw it and I talk about it. And today's random object is a fossilized frog. Now, we actually do this every day at 5:30 a.m. Texas time, so you may want to set your notification bell so you don't miss any of them. But again, today's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is a fossilized frog. Now, fossilized frogs are very rare. They don't find very many of these things because frogs are typically tropical. And tropical things don't fossilize well because it's all moist and easy for things to get dissolved and devoured. So it's not really the ideal location for fossils to form. You know, our vision, yeah, okay, my screen just blacked out for a minute there. Our vision of what the Cretaceous and Jurassic and all that was like is based on is usually formed when we're kids watching cartoons, and they show things like the Apatosaurus in the swamps, and they show all the monsters in the wetlands, and then they pretend like that's where the fossils come from, and the fossils don't come from those areas. The fossils typically come from the grasslands and the deserts because you need the fossils to dry and get covered up. And that doesn't happen in the tropical areas, so you don't get a lot of tropical fossils. You get some, but you don't get a lot of tropical fossils. We do get some, though. The oldest one we found for a frog is about 200 million years old. It was a frog, but not a modern frog. It had a tail, didn't jump very well. Triatobactrachus, 250 million years old. Triatobactrachus is what it was called. Of course, it wasn't called that then. It didn't speak English. Good morning, Adele. Good morning, Cassandra. Good morning, Claudia. Mom, Dad. Welcome to the chat this morning.
Cassandra says she loves fossils and loves frogs, so she definitely loves this little guy.
Yo también. Yo también, Cassandra. Me too. I love them also. I have 2 nautilus fossils in my living room on the floor, one on each side of the fireplace. My kids have some fossilized poop. There's a special name for that, but I can't think of it right now. I should add that to the randomogrifier. At some point, we should draw some fossilized poop. It sounds like a pretty crappy drawing to me. But anyway, frogs. Whenever they find a fossilized frog in the rocks, it's really an exciting thing for them, and they get they get published. Even if it's the size of an eyelash, the fossil, even if they find the fossil of a hipbone that's the size of an eyelash, they get published, and it's really an event for the poop. Coprolite, that's exactly right. Coprolite, thank you. I could not think of that term. I was trying to think of that term the other day when we were talking about something, and I couldn't think of it, so I didn't bring it up. But yeah, they have some of that, and I should I should I should add that to the randomogrifier. What was I talking about? How rare frog fossils are and why they're so rare?
Yes.
Do do do. Because they're usually in the tropic. There's of the 7,000 known species of frogs and toads living today, even still most of them are tropical, so they won't fossilize. We may get essence of fossil today. Some of these details are a little hard for me to see in this coloration. So we may just get essence of fossil today.
Cassandra says she's planning to go to the Dinosaur Museum on the 5th of May. It's a birthday treat. She hopes she can get her own coprolite.
That's what my kids like to do on their birthdays. My youngest kids, my youngest kids always want to go to the museum on their birthday. They want to take all their friends to the museum on their birthday, and not all of their friends are as into dinosaurs and history and ancient history as they are. But it's their birthday, so they get to do what they want to do. I don't really understand why they're friends if they don't like dinosaurs, because that automatically tells me they're not the right kind of people.
The kids can also tell you what the current exhibits are on all the museums.
They can. My kids
They
can.
keep up with it.
My kids can tell you what the current exhibits are at the museums. My kids can tell you what exhibits have been there for the last 10 years. They keep notebooks.
Cassandra says she's turning 34. She'll always love dinosaurs.
34. You're just a baby, Beth. You're just a baby. No, I get it. I'm 55 and I absolutely love dinosaurs. I totally get it.
There's Rick and Pamela.
Good morning, Rick and Pamela. We're doing essence of fossil this morning. Some of these details are a little hard to make out in this coloration, so can't talk, Harding. This is the part where the pencil marks confuse me, so I have too many pencil marks because I got a little too sketchy. But I think we're okay.
do an essence of coffee.
Essence of coffee. I started a new protein regimen this morning, as a matter of fact. And so I have essence of coffee. I have butter in my coffee this morning to add protein and fat to my diet to stave off hunger. I will report back and let you know how that's working. So if you look over at my coffee, if the wide camera comes on, my coffee looks yellow. That's why.
Cassandra, the shoulder camera's flickering. Is the light on properly?
You know, the light is on properly. I've been having some struggles with a recent update to OBS, but the lights are on properly. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. There's just not much I can do about it today, right now. Rick says I'm a sketchy character this morning. Adele says, told Claudia it should be a Pachycephalosaurus. What?
They were doing the spelling. Cassandra's son could know.
Oh, knew how to say Pachycephalosaurus sooner than my son had a similar issue. Claudia. Claudia says her oldest knew how to say Pachycephalosaurus sooner than pajamas. My youngest son had a similar issue. I have video of him talking about dinosaurs before he could talk about anything else, and it was he had kind of a speech impediment when he was a toddler. It took him a long time to overcome it, and his speech impediment was compounded by the fact that his vocabulary was so large that he was saying words like Pachycephalosaurus, and nobody knew what he was talking about. It's a vocabulary word that wasn't in the adults' vernacular, wasn't in their usage, and so it made it even more difficult for him to be understood by people outside the home. Poor kid. Pamela, your son grew up to be a doctor, didn't he? Pamela said, I thought your coffee looked green. Let's mix up some Payne's Gray here. I have some cobalt blue, some Prussian blue, add some burnt orange. Maybe a touch more cobalt blue to cool it down a little. Just a little bit of black to darken it, but not much, because black will dull it. Make sure I have enough water that I can thin it if I need to.
Sandra says packies are just the fat brains of dinosaurs. Emma says yes, and has so many more interests as well, talking about her son.
Isn't that cool?
One of my favorite things to do with the two youngest kids, and I have them both, I like to just throw out something and then they will debate it. It's great fun. And they whip their phones out and you're saying, no, it's like this, and see it. It's great fun.
Yeah, I enjoy picking on them. I
And
enjoy
you be
I,
right back.
I enjoy saying things that I know are absolutely false, just to just to watch her little eyes twitch. Just because I know it makes their little they will lose their minds at a wrong fact.
I understand this. Pamela says he was so proud when his firstborn would cry because her mom wouldn't let her bring every rock into the house. I understand.
But we want all the rocks.
Claudia says our smart oldest was so smart he called the youngest stupid. Guess how smart I think he is by that.
I can't say that happened at my house. All of my kids turned out to be pretty sharp. I guarantee you they're all sharper than I ever was at their age.
Now I don't know about that. I was there, remember?
My kids are pretty sharp.
Yes, they are.
They're not making the same dumb mistakes I made. Besides, you're biased, not me.
They're well understood. Nature lovers.
Isn't that crazy? How'd that happen? Somebody must have ta-
Oldest,
somebody must have taken them outside and shown them a frog or two.
your oldest daughter rescued a baby possum
I
in her
know,
backyard.
I know, and her fiance wouldn't let her keep him.
But she took him to the Wild Animal Care Center, whereas other people might just say, nah,
Toss it over the fence.
yeah,
She
you be
posted
careful.
she posted a picture. It's a baby possum, and she posted a picture. She thinks the dog got it. She posted a picture, and the thing was just as cute as could be. And she had it wrapped up in a towel, and she's holding it in her lap, and she's got the biggest smile on her face. And she said, Matt won't let me keep it. And I said, I can't believe he hates you like that. She said, I know. After all I've done for him, and I said, you need to cry at him. Let me dry this real quick. What do you have here? Oh, it's it's every morning in this house. Oh goodness. Oh,
Close enough where this like Claudia knows her blood is O positive.
guess she remembers opossum.
I I don't know what mine is. That's that.
I'm A negative. I know that. And my dad is A negative negative. There's a protein that you get when you've had chickenpox as a child. My dad didn't have chickenpox as a child, so he doesn't have that protein, which means he can give blood to newborns. I'm just A negative. So the Electrorana Linneowick is the earliest frog they found, the earliest type of frog they found. Or no, it's not the earliest type of frog they found. It's a 99 million year old frog. It's not the earliest frog they found. I'm sorry. I'll get to that one in a second. It is the first frog they found in amber. And the electro part of their name means amber, and the rana part means frog. Electrorana Linneowick. Sorry. 99 million years old, found in Myanmar, and also had a beetle that was likely intended to be his last meal. I don't think he intended it to be his last meal, but was likely intended to be his meal and would have been his last had he caught it. But when they find him in amber, the beauty of finding them in amber is that they get all of the details. They get the skin texture, they get the stomach contents, they get all of the details that they wouldn't normally get if it were just fossilized. Got a little vermilion here. But the Triodobactrachus is a 250 million year old actually fossilized frog that they found. It had a tail. And it couldn't jump very well, or they don't believe that it hopped, that it jumped like modern frogs do. But modern frogs have been around since the Cretaceous, 90 million years. They find modern frogs in the Cretaceous era.
Claudia said she thought Barnstone was the one with animals in it. Pamela says, "Well, I see vermilion."
Yes, ma'am. I pulled that vermilion up just for you, Pamela. I'm gonna water down some cobalt blue and come back through in a couple of areas here to give that some texture. While we were what?
This is nonsense speaking. When we were at the VA yesterday, we walked by the VA store that I had to walk down always, so I'd never seen it. And hanging in there on the walls, they have these new big plastic durable coats. Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of them, but crafters are aware of them.
Yes.
They were walking by, and I said, "Oh, look at that one." And your dad looked at it, and that's vermilion. That's a great color.
He said that?
I did. And immediately thought of Tesla. And it's funny how this show and these friends, you think about away from this time period.
Oh yeah, I think about you guys all the time. I tell people stories about stuff you guys have said in chat. Let me dry this and then we can ink it. Rick said he's as sharp as a basketball these days. I feel your pain. I walk around trying to remember things that I used to know. I try to tell somebody something about a movie or a book or a fact that I used to know, and I can't, like Coprolite earlier. I that's stuff that I used to talk about all the time because I have a biology degree. This is stuff I really used to talk about all the time in school, and now it's like the words just escaped me. And I feel sometimes I feel like uh, like I've just lost all use of my cognitive functions. Sharp as a sharp as a basketball is a legitimate term. Pamela said what?
That she's telling Claudia that she wishes she could see her watercolor palette. What do you think?
A lot of vermilion.
I think so.
Dun, 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 dun. Now they found some frogs in Mexico in amber, and those frogs are somewhere between 25 and 40 million years old. And again, it's really exciting when they find stuff like that for them because it gives them a chance to study what the environment was like that long ago. They get to see what the frogs were eating. They get to see, they get to see coloration, pigments in the skin. They get all kinds of information about the day that they wouldn't get from a fossil. Because while the fossils, they did find one fossil that was preserved so well that the calcium preserved the texture of the skin of the frog, but not like they get with amber.
But the one word that never escapes us, vermilion.
Vermilion. I'll never forget that word.
What Rick said.
Vermilion.
And that's so frustrating. After 5 years and 2 degrees, sometimes I wonder what happened to my brain.
Exactly. I think I left it on the exam floor sometimes. They don't find they don't as rare as it is to find frogs. They even it's even more rare for them to find tadpoles because tadpoles, their bones haven't ossified yet. So it's even harder for them to. It's like sharks. It's even harder for them to fossilize because there's no material to fossilize. But they did find some tadpoles that are about 160 million years old, and the tadpoles are giants. They found them in Patagonia, and it's Nucibatricus is the name of it, Nucibatricus. And the tadpoles, those tadpoles, which are interesting because the tadpoles are larger than the adult frogs. And that's the other thing you got to remember is the vast majority of frogs are only about this big. So it's even harder. Those bones are very small. It's even harder for them. The vast majority of frogs are only 2 to 4 inches. What is today? Today is the 23rd of April. So anyway, there is my frog fossil compared to the photograph. Let's see what it looks like from my perspective. artists all over the world screaming Vermilion at once. I would love that. I'd like to get about 10,000 viewers and just have them all scream Vermilion all around the world. Vermilion. That would be fantastically hilarious. All right, let's see here. From my perspective, there it is from my perspective. So that's what I did this morning. How about threw my phone down on the floor? Let's see what we have going on tomorrow. Tomorrow, oh, the suspense. The suspense. I know y'all are down for the suspense. Tomorrow is another bingo ball. This bingo ball corresponds to, oh, what do we have here? Oh, to quote Adele, oh, it is an axolotl. Now, this is very similar. We did a mud puppy earlier this year, and the mud puppies are from North America up in the Great Lakes area. This is an axolotl down from Mexico, and they have some very similar features, but they diverged from each other some 200 million years ago. And we will talk about these little guys, about how they stay in a juvenile state their whole lives. We will talk about these little guys tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time while I sketch this one. Some people have a hard time saying their name. This one's name's Maria. Maria. Anyway, we'll talk more about that one tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So you may want to set your notification bell so you don't miss that. Tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. You know I look forward to this every day. Arting with my besties is absolutely the highlight of my day. I run down the stairs to be here with you. Rick, Pamela, Claudia, Adele, Cassandra. Did I say Claudia? Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody, and I don't want to miss anybody. Mom, Dad, thank you guys so much for joining me. I do really appreciate the feedback and the pushback. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Be sure and tune in tomorrow, same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. And then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because that is how we know that the lag has caught up with the stream. Oh, don't forget, tonight, 7 p.m. Texas time, we're gonna meet back up here at this exact same location, and we're gonna sketch some angelfishes. We're gonna watercolor some angelfishes tonight. So also turn in your easels. If you have anything for what's on your easel, send an email to blade@artisticbiker.com with easel in the subject line so I can share your works to inspire others. Don't forget that. That's tonight at 7 p.m. Texas time. But we dance to know that the lag is caught up with us. Gives everybody a chance to say their hellos and goodbyes and ask any questions of each other if they need to. Click the clicky thingies this way if you're on the horizontal, or this way if you're on the vertical, so that you can watch another fantastic video just like this one. But the most important part about the dancing is to make sure that I don't get